Friends, hearty welcome to the next edition of the VDMA CEO's Thought Leadership Series. And pleasure for me today to welcome Mr. VG Shakti Kumar, Managing Director of Schwingstetter India Private Limited. Friends, Shakti holds a bachelor's degree in chemical engineering and a master's of business administration from School of Management, Pondicherry University. He has been associated with Schwingstetter since its inception in India in 1998 and has played an important role in its growth story. He has over 3 decades of industry experience in ready-mix concrete and construction machinery business. So Shakti, thank you for joining us today for this edition of the VDMA CEO's Thought Leadership Series.
Thank you, Mr. Rajesh. It's always a pleasure interacting with you, and a warm greeting to all the viewers of this program.
Right. Shakti, at the outset, let me congratulate you and your team also for the new manufacturing facility, new unit that you have inaugurated this year in Cheyyar. What I wanted to ask you, Shakti, what was the trigger for setting up this new facility? And you also are implementing, I heard, smart manufacturing. So how are you implementing this concept of smart manufacturing in this new facility, Shakti?
Sure, Mr. Rajesh. Actually, if you see, we have been constantly investing in India. Since 98, we started our operation. 2001 was the first factory, and subsequently we added 3 factories with a gap of almost 3 to 4 years. But 2011, after that, there was a big plateau in growth of construction or infrastructure business in India till 2016 when it started growing again. So during this phase, we were also put our plans on back burner and were waiting for good opportunity in the domestic market to start with. So that we saw it as a possibility only after 2017 and 18, when there was the best of the years for the construction equipment industry in India. Added to this, globally, there were a lot of things were happening where the manufacturing plants in Germany, Brazil, and US, they were started facing tough competition from the Asian manufacturers in the domestic market. So this also added to the thought process in the group that why not we have an expanded activity in India to not only take care of the domestic, but also for the export business. With all this consideration, we felt it is the ideal time to get into the new facility. And then we started this sometime in 2019. We signed an agreement during the global investor meet in Chennai with the government of Tamil Nadu. And we started the construction. Almost when the construction was in the final stages, we had the big trouble from the pandemic, and there was a lot of problems with respect to completion. But we went ahead and we inaugurated our plant in February this year, 2021, between 2 pandemics. I mean, the wave 1 and the wave 2. So we had a gap, and we were lucky enough to get our factory inaugurated and then start shifting some of our machinery from the existing location to the new location. Since the numbers are going to be made in bigger volumes here, so we decided that we will bring in all the best concepts globally so that this plant works not only for India domestic market with respect to the range and the quality of the machines and the specification of the machines. And we also decided to make them in the same way like what we are doing in Germany or even better. So one of the thought process was to completely digitalize the plant and then use all the latest concepts in the manufacturing. So that is how we went about it. And some of the machinery is also what we are installing there. For example, the double column boring machine is going to be the biggest, I was told, among in India once it is completed. It is going to have a span of 21 meters. I think currently there is the biggest one is 16 meters in the country. So we are going for everything, the best complete automation, even the material handling, everything is going to be in completely different way. With respect to people also, we have taken a new model of people where we recruit them from Polytechnic and ITIs and train them, make them work, make them earn, and give them education and make them Bachelor of Engineers in 5 years' time. So this process will be continuous. We will be letting all the old batches go out and then the new batch will be coming in. So that we thought we will be doing this in this factory, and we already started that.
Right, right. So I think Shakti, also from VDMA's side, a hearty congratulations to you and your team that in this difficult period also you have gone ahead with this investment. And as they say, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. So I think it's a very good example how Schwingstätte, as you correctly mentioned, in between the two pandemics you have, or the two waves, you have inaugurated the plant in really difficult times, Shakti.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Rajesh. I think I should admit here that the confidence what we have in the Indian infrastructure story, I mean, the potential of infrastructure industry in India, we have tremendous confidence on that, and it's going to be really good in the coming years also.
Right, right. Shakti, if we look at the year 2020, we call it the black swan year, where the global economy has to face a slowdown of around 5%. And in fact, India also had a degrowth of about 8%. So in your opinion, we are quite optimistic, Shakti, that India will bounce back and we will see a growth happening in 21, 22. So in your opinion, Shakti, if we look specifically at your sector, what are the 2 or 3 forces which will drive this India's growth story, Shakti?
Right, okay. Actually, firstly, I would like to give one clarification to you, Mr. Rajesh, that 2020 financial year for us is Jan to December. 2020 is not a bad year for us. That is the third best year since we started the company.
Wow.
And 21 is heading for even a better results. What I mean to say is, in spite of 1 quarter complete lockdown in 2020 and 1 quarter in 21, the rest of the year is giving enough numbers or businesses, so that is not really an issue. With respect to what is going to happen from now on, because of this COVID pandemic and the lockdowns and economic slowdown generally for the country, I would say that a couple of things which is going to really determine future growth. The first of all, the spent up requirement. The 2 quarters what I mentioned, where normally business is happening, was happening, did not happen. So there is going to be again a big rush of orders the moment the monsoon gets over this year also. So that is going to drive in the immediate future. But quietly many things have happened. The government has done a lot of reforms in many areas. For example, the labor area, and also incentivizing investments in India. For example, the PLI scheme, etc. All these are going to bring in more and more investment in India, and the infrastructure demand is also going to grow up because of that. And all of us know that already the government plan of building a 5 trillion economy is pivoted on spending 1.4 trillion US dollar in infrastructure directly. And this 1.4 trillion, if you analyze, a very small volume is where we are not really associated with that part of the investment, the communication and the areas which is very, very small window. But the majority, or more than 40% or 45% is on road, rail, infrastructure, the other social infrastructure. And these things are going to be a major driver. And we also see that government is not just announcing the scheme, but they are also implementing in the big way. That we could really experience in the implementation. And I mean, for example, in the road, 2 major records were created in the last 6-7 months during the peak of the pandemic in road construction. We are at the rate of around 35 kilometers per day today. That is the highest in the world today. And I'm sure that this will continue and only going to increase. I think these all are the major factors which will drive the growth and the requirement in the country for the coming years.
Right.
I would like to
Shakti,
add, sorry, Rajesh, I would like to
yes,
add,
please,
export
please.
is another opportunity for India. And all of us are experiencing that in the last couple of quarters. The exports of machineries out of India is also gone up.
Okay, so export is also going to be one of the factors where you're looking that it will help and boost the industry. Right, right. Yeah. Shakti, out of the COVID, we had the first wave and then we had the impact also of the second wave of COVID. Are there any trends, Shakti, what you have seen from COVID that cause any worry or concern to you, Shakti?
I would say there are, it's a mixed bag. There are positives and negatives. In the positive side, everybody getting into digitalization and then people trying to do more productive meeting by having a proper webinars, etc. That is all great, good things. But on the manufacturing and the business side, there are some concerns. Many things which has happened post-COVID, happened all of a sudden. And the reaction to such sudden changes, it is not easy when you run a big operation which involves so many vendors and so many customers and transactions. So this is making us realize that we have to build more flexibility into the operation to manage a situation like this. And secondly, this has suddenly opened up opportunity for steel companies to export. And two things happened. One is we were thrown out of gear when material were not available in the market to manufacture, point one. And point two, we were sitting with the backlog of order and the steel we had to go and buy at a higher price, and convincing the customer that prices have gone up was not easy. Even that continues now also, where a customer complained that my order is old, why are we talking about the price? Mine is fixed. So steel supply is still a big question mark for all the manufacturers. One is availability and another one is the price. You can imagine it is more than 28 rupees per kg what has gone up. And absolutely, we are not having the possibility to bring in the steel from other countries also, because there is big logistic issue with the shipping industry now. So these all are the factors which is going to really have on the negative impact of COVID on the business. But we see the need for more indigenization of our components and products, and encouraging our vendors who are not in India to come and set up a factory in India. These all are the action plans which are persuading our vendors to do quickly, so that our interest is taken care of. So this is going to be the most challenging aspect of our business, I would say. Otherwise, the new learning of working from home gives a lot of benefit for the people also. The flexibility in operations, those things are really good, which is an outcome of the COVID pandemic and lockdowns.
Right. So when we talk about working from home, Shakti, what is the strategy that Schwingstetter is adopting in India? Do you see that certain percentage of people would be working from home and a part would be working from office, or now everybody is back in the office?
Now everybody is back in the office,
Right.
including the back office people who are not required to actually come to the factory. We allow them to come or encourage them to come, because psychologically this is one thing which will help people also to feel better. Because a long stay within home and uncertain times, and this can really have a serious impact on the people's thinking. So we let July happen like this, and we are very cautious. We are if the government is saying this is what they're going to implement with the lockdown and then unlock, we are even more careful and not encouraging the people to venture out and make them do something which is not required to be done as per the government instruction. So this we are very, very careful. Unfortunately, there are certain departments like the manufacturing shop floor or the service where the physically it has to happen. So we have no choice. We are taking enough care for the people in terms of vaccination and following all the protocol, and still we make it. But what can be managed in a remote way, that we are trying to do that during the lockdown periods. But currently, from the month of July onwards, since we feel it is not anymore unsafe, we are allowing the people to come out and come and work. As I talk to you on July 22nd today, we do not have anybody who is sick in our company because of this pandemic. So that is the situation.
Very good. That's and very nice to hear that, Shakti, that all precautions are being properly followed and the SOPs you are following. Shakti, you mentioned also about the National Infrastructure Pipeline program of the government, and even in the budget, in fact, the allocation has been increased by the government. Now it's about 1.7 trillion capital outlay is planned till 2025. What I wanted to ask you, Shakti, on ground level, what is the status of or pace of implementation of these projects? You mentioned about the road projects, and road projects, I believe, are going well. But what about some of the other projects? Are they also on track, or are we seeing a slowdown because of the pandemic?
I would say that road as well as the metro rail phases in the big cities and new metro rail projects in the next level of cities are progressing very well. I don't think there is a serious fund problem because it is also supported by overseas fundings, like Japan government and various other sources from where they are getting the money. So these all are progressing quite well, I would say. Similarly, the high-speed train, that is a big ticket, investment in India. So that is also taken off very well, and you can see already in 2 packages, our machines are getting erected, and Larsen & Toubro is a contractor, and they are progressing well in these areas. But if you talk about inland waterways or some other infrastructure like social and infrastructure, these things are not moved on that speed compared to these 2 areas. So I would say that it is, but one thing is there, it was supposed to be 2019-2025, the investment period, but the report itself, final report came in March 2020 only. But in spite of that, these areas, metro, railways, and road, in this area, we can see the good progress has happened during the last year and the current year. It is still continuing. The awards are happening, and we expect, as per the original plan, they were supposed to spend more money in the initial years and slowly taper down on 2025 when they reach. It is equal spending of 1.4 divided by 5. It is going to be a bigger chunk in the initial years. So I think that is going to happen. That is the only way our dream realization of 5 trillion can happen with more spending in the initial year. So we don't see a big concern. But there are issues like between the governments, some understanding issues, land availability, etc., which is putting some of the projects getting delayed because of that. Otherwise, I think on overall basis, we have a good feeling about the progress so far.
Okay, right. And the road projects you mentioned, Shakti, are doing quite well. Almost, I think you mentioned about 40 kilometers per day we are able to attain.
37 kilometers.
37 kilometers. Right. Coming to the construction equipment industry, Shakti, now we have quite a mixed bag in India. We have, of course, the international players who are there. Then we have the Indian manufacturers also, some large, some smaller companies. And because of the pandemic also, I think, and the certain slowdown that took place, the lockdown due to the pandemic, I think the manufacturers are also under immense price pressure, Shakti. So how do you foresee the trend going ahead? And do you also foresee some consolidation happening in the industry? Would there be some merger and acquisitions that one could look that there is a possibility in the next few years to come, Shakti?
Yeah, sure. Let me answer the first part of the question. Definitely, the companies, whoever, could be an international company, a global company, or a local company, those who are innovating and making a lot of new products, understanding the requirement, they are succeeding. They are succeeding, and even in this condition, when there is a price pressure, they can work around, and introduce products and models which does the same function but in a much better cost situation, making it attractive for the customers. Customers see only the value for what work you want to do. Until the time you are able to meet that requirement, I think customers are going to be happy with their solutions. So constantly, these companies, I would say that it is not only global companies are succeeding, even a lot of Indian companies who are successful are basically anchored on this, on innovation and bringing in new products. And there is another concept also. Many of them are becoming a platform organization in the sense they are not only into one product specialization, which brings risk to the organization. Like we, for example, we were for a long time in India only in concreting. Today we are in non-concreting space. And this is more or less happening with all specialized companies who are known for certain product in their range as a company which makes that particular product. Now they're getting into other areas to spread their own risk. So this is one side, so people who are investing on R&D and innovation and the new products, understanding the requirement, they do not have any problem and they continue to grow. They will manage the cost and price pressure situation also. This is one part of the question. The second part of the question is, you asked about
some consolidation.
Yes, I think definitely it is happening. Those who are not doing, already we see some of them have come approaching through the consultant, and then they want to wind it up, and then they want to sell off their facility because these are the companies. I wouldn't say that they did not have a right product. Some have a strategic reason. They think that they have multiple operation and they feel that this will not fit anymore in their scheme of things. And some of them who are overexposed in terms of giving too many, aggressively promoting the product with the credits and not managing the, not able to manage the collection, etc. They think that since the pandemic lockdown has come and all their calculations are gone haywire and they are not able to sustain and they want to give up. But you are right, your observation is right. There are companies up for grab now for acquisition and merger now for the bigger ones. It is happening now. And I think this will continue to happen also.
Right. Let us come to the status, Shakti, of the how is the skill development? ICMA is also quite actively promoting the skilling of the workers in the construction industry. So how do you find, Shakti, are we making progress with the skill development program, especially in the construction industry, Shakti?
I'm 100% sure about this. We are making very good progress. IESC based out of Bangalore is doing a wonderful service, and they are engaging all the manufacturers and having some sort of an agreement with them annual basis, how many numbers of certification they have to do. And companies are also committed, especially because we know today we make 100,000 equipments in the country, the construction equipment machines. And we are talking about by turn of 2030, this number to be 3 times more. With the national infrastructure pipeline and some initiative taken by ICMA, this will be realized with the export market adding. This is going to happen, but unfortunately, there is no formal education system which train people and certify them to make capable of operating or maintaining our type of machinery. So the responsibility is with the manufacturers, and we are taking care of that. Recently, we made a plan for Shrimshed India to train 10,000 people in the next 3 years. So that, that we have created an additional training facility also. And we are seeing how we can use more of our CSR funds to give as far as possible with a very limited investment from the candidate side, how they can get the training with the stay, accommodation, boarding, and then get a certification. I think this will happen. Every company is doing, and we are also doing. And I think this realization has come. Without good operator, the customers are not going to see the value of the machine. So it is important that we train the people also.
Right. And I think this is very important also for the industry, Shakti. As you rightly mentioned, if the number of machines are going to increase so rapidly, you need to have skilled people also to operate and maintain the machines. Right. Yeah. Shakti, coming to perhaps the last question for today is, of course, the COVID and the unprecedented circumstances Now they have impacted companies, they have impacted businesses and workforce. So it's been also for the leaders, it's been quite a period of crisis. So what we would like to understand from you, Shakti, we would like to, if you could give us 3 tips for our CEOs and all the viewers, how companies or CEOs can handle these challenging times and help the companies to come out of these uncertainty period or uncertainty factor, Shakti.
Yeah, actually, the first tip, I mean, I'm sure most of us are doing that, but I feel the communication in tougher time frequently. Not only from the top man of the company, in multiple layers, there should be a communication reaching out to the people to tell what is happening with the company, what is company is planning to do, and every information in advance, and what all are the facilities available for the employees in the company in there is some say case of emergency and things like that. So both on the business side and the personal side, keep communicating. This is the most important thing, which we did very reasonable work with that. And just communication will not be enough, Mr. Rajesh, you know that. So we need to really demonstrate things in such a way that there will be 100% confidence in the mind that company is there to take care of you. I'll give an example. What we did during the second wave, sometime in the first week of May, we started experiencing problem in our manufacturing clusters in Chennai. The hospitals were in demand and oxygen beds were in demand because there was a lag of around 3 weeks between rest of India and Tamil Nadu. So because it started catching up later. So I am talking about the first week of May. Within one day, what we did is we cleared up one of our factory floor, and then we installed the 25 beds and then connected with them with the oxygen supply. And we put 3 duty doctors and 10 duty nurses throughout the day. We brought a yoga instructor and we have a psychiatrist to counsel the people. And we announced that if you or your family member having any doubt, come and stay. We gave them free food and took care of the free medicine. And a very interesting point. I haven't got so much feedback from my employees on this one action of ours.
Right.
They were, I mean, it is not only those who used the services, those who did not use the service. They also wrote saying that we were worrying what is going to happen to our life if there is a situation and there is no hospital bed. And this is really made it wonderful. But good thing, we ran it only for 1 month because the last 4 days we did not have any patient. Right. So we had to close down for that reason because it made no sense to keep a facility without anybody. So you also know that the second wave was quick enough to go up and come down also. So it lasted in our area only for 4 weeks. We also imported 5 oxygen concentrator and kept it in all our guest houses in different locations. And we also worked with our association, ICMA, who did a great job in other cities like Hyderabad, Bangalore, Delhi, Ahmedabad, in this Kolkata also. They did a great job in providing oxygen concentrator and giving free vaccination to the people who are connected to our industry. So on the whole, we did a good job on taking care of the employees. That really helped. And next time, if there is a wave, I wish there is no wave. If there is, we will even make this facility even bigger and invite even beyond our circle of influence, not only our vendors and our employees and our industry colleagues, maybe to the local industrial estate, we will expand it into the bigger way. This is our plan.
Right.
So, communication is like personally for me, I'm talking about what we did with the employees and communication. For me, yoga is really helping. I was never into yoga before, so with this pandemic, I started now, and I am seeing good result. It is helping me keep my mind cool, and I'm worrying only about what I can control. What is not in the control, no point in thinking about it. So we will have to only give a fitting response to that when actually event happens. So
Right.
that clarity, I think it has become much better now.
Right.
And that is a positive takeaway for me personally.
Right. But this is very commendable, Shakti, that you have, as Schwingstetter, you have taken so many initiatives. And I think this is what shows the leadership quality also in these difficult times, Shakti. So on behalf of the German Engineering Federation, Shakti, once again wishing Schwingstetter a great year 2021, and with all the plans and forecasts, I hope your plans and forecasts are not only achieved, but you exceed all your plans and forecasts also, and with this new facility. And I think the growth story of Schwingstetter in India is quite exemplary. In fact, we are very proud to have Schwingstetter also as a VDMA member, Shakti.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rajesh. We are also equally proud to be part of VDMA. And I wish you, VDMA, and all the viewers a great year ahead and a lot of success in whatever they are doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Shakti. Thank you. Take care. All the best. Thank you. Goodbye.